Some things aren't outsourced. Pride, tradition, craftsmanship. When quality still matters. When heritage still means something. There's Mulligan Gear. American made. American worn. Because everyone deserves a mulligan.
Well, hello, everybody. Another edition of Gentleman's Roundtable tonight. Another great job by Dubs on the intro. I am Reviews of Moose. Tonight, I am wearing, this is the Gang Boss by Mulligan Gear. Great cap. And what about you, Dubs? What do you got on, bud?
Yeah, today I got on the Gang Boss in linen in the color blue, made in America, and it's a real good cap, man. I really like it.
I'm Chad, First 508th Airborne from YouTube. I have on the Sturkowski mechanics cap from World War II.
What's going on, everybody? Cool. Anox from Anox on Box. I got on the Mulligan Gear Breakwater Newsboy. Some great colors in that sucker right there. I love it.
Nice. I like that.
And now we get to introduce our special guest. This is Jim from Mulligan Gear, American-made products. Jim, go ahead and explain. Go ahead and introduce yourself and how Mulligan started, and show us. Just spill all the beans here, bud.
Okay, sounds good. It's going to be a long story. So, so here's the thing. So people said, how was it possible you guys got into my partner Kathy and I? How we started into the whole hat business, but we're also the brand. You know, shirts, jackets, and some other things. All have been successful for us. But my partner Kathy and I actually met at a business that my family owned in called the Irish Cottages. Now there were 10 stores in 4 different states: New York, New England, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire. And Kathy, you know, was my sister's friend, and she worked at our Cape store with me. So it was an Irish store. We imported the sweaters, the hats, everything else, and we also had a ice cream store. So we both picked up ours that way, and you know, so at this cottage we had down the Cape, they used to bring in some Irish girls from Ireland. It was really a great setup. It was the biggest Irish stores in America until my parents got divorced and they ended up splitting it up. However, with Kathy and me, you know, when you stay at a cottage with 5 girls and only one doesn't complain or fight for the bathroom, when you get to when you get to know them later in life, you say, you know what, that's the girl for me. So, you know, we got together about 17 or 18 years ago when we started this brand, and you know, Kathy's an artist. She was doing some of the products. Some other local stores were selling her products. And I had this other idea about Mulligan Gear. And she made a lot of our initial products and selling like crazy. So that's how we trademarked it. She got a lawyer, trademark lawyer. You know, we were already connected through the old businesses. So we were able to make it happen, despite the fact that all the bankers said not, you know, a chance in 1,000 that we would last 5 years. So here it is 14 years later. So still making it happen. We're actually getting more successful.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Awesome.
Congrats. Yeah.
Congrats on that. I feel like the whole hat world in general is growing. So that's good for you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It really
Most
is.
definitely.
And, you know, the important thing is that, you know, you get the younger people also involved in it and keeping the traditions going. And that was really our main thing is yes, we obviously have some hats that have the modern look, but we obviously have some of the traditional American newsboys, and we got the 6-pin American drivers, Americana. Yeah. I mean, I think we have a lot more hats than even people, you know that we have until they go online or they see us in the store or what have you.
Right.
Now I got a question for you, Jim.
I got
on the storefront side. Is there like certain times a year where it's extremely busy compared to others? I mean, because I would imagine with with it being a storefront, I mean, I'm sure there's others that tried in the area that obviously have not succeeded as long as you have.
You're 100% right. So in the Boston area, you're gonna be very busy in November. You're gonna be very busy in December, and you're gonna be very busy in March. So, you know, like I was saying to you guys offline, in December, probably between 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we pay for the rent for the store for the whole year. It's swamped, you know. So, you know, some of the hat guys would come in and say, "Wow, the store's packed," and people coming in for 2, 3, 4 hats in a piece. And November it starts really picking up. Obviously, St. Patrick's Day is huge in this area here. Father's Day, June. So some months are slower. During the summertime, you'll be slower. I took my vacation. Kathy and I flew over to Ireland, and I think it was the month of May. So you look through your historical records and say, okay, well, that month's gonna be a little slower. So when do we go? We go, okay, we'll go in May. That was really the first time we had ever closed the store down, because, but people were, people were accommodating to us because some people, my next door neighbor said, hey, there was a lot of people at the door. And, but they came back and said, you son of a bitch, I came to your store and you weren't here, but they still ended up buying their 7 or 8 hats. So, they forgave us, and everyone on vacation. You got to recharge your batteries.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So then the other months, what we do is, where are the people, so the people around here are vacationing down Cape Cod, and they'll be there for parts of June, July, and August. So we do festivals there, and people come to expect us to be there. So they'll say, hey, I wasn't going to drive up to Mansfield. I wanted to see you here, so we're glad you showed up. We do the Italian things, we do the Irish things, we do the Scottish things. So so for right now, I'm not saying that every hat that we make from here to December 30th is going to be sold, but every hat from here to December 30th is going to be sold by the end of the year. So, we don't advertise too much, but we have our regulars, and when you do them, as long as we have since 2012, you have enough of a base that you can get by. Be successful, really.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's neat that you actually mentioned about your December, how it pays your rent for the. I'm from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and you'll be surprised how many of those people that come in during the spring break time all the way through summer, making all that money, and they blow it, and then next thing they have a foreclosed sign on the door by the next time it even comes around because they just blow their money instead of prolonging it.
Yeah.
So that was
the main thing you got to remember in this business is remember it's a 52-week business. So therefore, when you are slow or whatever, or when you're super busy, don't ever think you're a genius because there's going to be a couple of slow months. But we had a good enough plan that we said, what was the first thing I did? So I used to have a great job as an operations manager, right? Major company. And so when we first got started, I said, what we're going to need is we're going to need a trailer. So I paid for that cash. So when we first started, we used to do 10 golf expos. Portland, Maine, Boston, Connecticut, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Philadelphia, Detroit, and back to another one in Massachusetts. So the thing was, if you try to rent a U-Haul for all those events, whatever you're making, you're going to go through that month. You're going to go through the money. So, I had good money. We're self-financed. So I bought the trailer from the same guys I used to buy the big trailers from my company, paid cash for it, and didn't have to worry about that. Got the big pickup truck that could haul a lot of weight, 4-wheel drive, so snow. And so we tried to think about all those things. So therefore, we could even out our business that if it wasn't St. Patrick's Day, if it wasn't Christmas, if it wasn't, that we would have something that would allow us to be in front of the people. Now, the thing is, as you know, I'm sure you know it's very physical, so you got to be prepared to, deal with the rain. I don't know if you guys know Jimmy Mitchell, but Jimmy Mitchell from the Bearded Scallywags, he came by with Jason Milborn.
He's right here.
He's right here.
So, oh yes. So he came by, and there was like 25, 30 mile an hour winds. He didn't say a word. He just jumped in and helped me hold the tents down. We have the heavy duty everything, but he jumped in, and so did Jason Milburn, and so they stayed with me for like 2 hours, and that's what happens. Now that was a rare occurrence, but one time I was doing the Marshfield Fair, and my partner Kathy said, "Hey, tornado warning," so it's like 2 tents. I have 40 pounds of weight on each leg, and literally for about an hour, the tent was 8 inches off the ground. Hat racks are blowing off. I lost a lot of money. Some of them got damaged and thrown them away. But that's what you deal with when you do live events. So just to think like, okay, well, we go from this stage to that stage. You have to have the right tools. You have to have the right equipment. You got to be prepared for those things to happen. So, rain last weekend at the Italian feast, but you check the weather and I just put up the sides and left a little early. Had a great show and didn't get greedy and didn't take any chances on the hats getting damaged.
Yeah, I mean it's good. It's good to hear that side of it because all the guests we've had on here, hatters, they don't go around and do events like that with tents and stuff like that. So it's the first time we're hearing that side of it. That's pretty good.
Right. Yeah. Oh, it can be hard. But the thing was, when I was in the service, I was a cargo specialist, and you learn a lot of these things about logistics and, how to be prepared. And you're still going to, who plans for a tornado in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
But so you have to be prepared for everything. But a lot of the events, the weather is good. You're out in the sun, you're meeting the people, and then they become customers forever.
Yeah.
Great.
And that,
we have our loyal following, and we have our crosstown rivals, BSC. So they've done a great job. We used to see him at the events too. So So cool. He did it the hard way too. He was not afraid to work, and his family would be out there. So we give them credit for their hard work and their marketing and everything that they've done.
Mm-hmm.
We always say, as far as these hats go and everything else, grow the game. Okay, don't try to have 1,000 customers and have everyone split that 1,000 customers. Try to get yourself exactly what you guys are doing. Get yourself 10,000 customers so everyone can introduce the styles that they like, in the manners that, the fabrics or what have you, and it keeps making everyone else improve and, have your own culture, so in the end, what happens with some of these businesses, there's some people that maybe like us the best, some people like some of the other guys the best, and some of the new guys are stepping up and they're doing a good job. So, there's enough for everyone if you keep growing the game,
We say that literally every time. There's enough for everybody.
Yeah. Yes.
I got a question before we go into all these guys' questions. A real quick question. By any chance, did you pay any of these comments to come on here and say you're such a good guy and everything here? Because that's all these comments I see on the side. Jim's such a good guy.
Yeah. No, well, the thing is, we do have a healthy respect, and like all businesses, it can get competitive. So with us is, we knew, we are kind of we are established. We have our own regular business. So, from as far as the hat groups, we pulled back for a couple of years and said, what, like all businesses, it was getting very competitive. And I just said, what, we'll focus on us and focus on our store. And Jimmy Mitchell, bring up Jimmy again, he came into the store and said, hey, we miss you on the page. You brought something extra to it. We don't need you, but we would, I'd like to see you on the page. And Scott was on there too. And so, I went back to the Bearded Scallywags, and Nick invited us. He had asked me a few times. So went to that that page, but it's tough enough just to focus on what we're doing. But it's great. Your group here, 4 experts, 5 experts, and I was completely impressed with Anthony when he came into the store, because he seemed to have a great knowledge of the hats and the history of the hats. We had a great conversation. He must have been there for an hour or two.
Yeah,
we caught up on a lot of things.
That was cool.
He gave some great input, suggestions, and we talked about a lot of things. And of course, I mean, we don't know everything, so we can easily implement anything, do anything, and it was great to talk to him. And this group was great. Because got a chance to see all your reviews of the different cap companies, and of course, I'm going to listen to it and say, well, we could do this different or that's different, and it's helpful to people like me.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't just talk about hats. We got into a lot of boxing, sports, New York, Boston, all that shit.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Anybody watching, try to get down there. I stopped on my way back from my Boston trip. So if anybody's in the area, try to stop over and see Jim. It's a really good experience. Knows a lot.
You were trying to hide your camera so you could do some filming in there, man. So
yeah. I felt a little weird about it first, but I put a short thing together,
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is so during what I call the pandemic. So at that time before so in November of 2019, our business was finally big enough that I didn't have to do 2 jobs. So I had a great job as an operations manager for a successful company. So he says, you know what? My mind is wandering. It's time. Mulligan Gear is big enough now. If I'm there for not just the 3 hours a day, me and Kath, if we're there 3 hours a day, which was like 5 to 9, so 4 hours a day, I said, I'm quitting my job. We have enough money in the bank. The business has done well, but now we're going to see what it's like to do the business all day, see what kind of customers get. So of course we go to Ireland in January, and what happens? Everyone's talking about the pandemic. We had already paid for our live events, St. Patrick's Day and all the other events that were coming up. And we got a knock on the door sometime in March, I think. And it was the cops, and they said, hey, guys, you're out. You're not essential. So I'm like, wow. Really? I'm like, so what's your plans? This is because we have a 1,500 square foot store. We have 2 trucks. We have a trailer, workers' comp, and everything that goes with running a business. And they said, well, 15 days to slow the spread, right? Which turned into 4 months, and all of the live events canceled for 18. But like if you're a religious person, you say that's the time you check your faith, because you'd wake up in the morning and say, I think I'll go to work. It's like, oh, I can't go to work because we're non-essential. So the website did okay. That got us through, and but it was tough, and people coming for the hats at Christmas time, and I was bringing them out to the sidewalk. People say, can you get me a size large and a green? I'll be right back. So that's how we got through that. So really what happened is around June of 2021, there was some kind of a charitable event for somebody, and someone said, hey, will you come to the event? And I'm like, is it even legal? They said, yeah, the state's approved it. So we went there, and the people were just ready to get out, and we did super good there. And then we had the Italian feast coming up in August, and we were on the front page of the second biggest paper in Massachusetts is the Boston Herald. So we were on the front page because they had got a picture of that feast in our tent from the years prior. Was right there on the corner. We had the best spot, so there was a lot of shamrocks on the corner in the Italian feast. And then people said, hey, did you see your picture on the Boston Herald? So then it was like, okay, so now we're back in business, and been growing ever since. But no, it was a scary time. But 3 million small businesses went out, and we weren't one of them.
Yeah.
I'm glad you made it through, man.
Yeah.
That killed a lot of people's livelihoods there, and it was unfortunate. Yep.
Destroyed a lot of
Yeah.
small
Yeah, a lot of
businesses
people,
needlessly.
Yeah. So, yeah, fortunately we were prepared, before I quit my job, I said, what could go wrong? Now, who would predict the pandemic though, but like I said, when we got through that, I'm like, we can get through that, we can get through anything. And,
Yeah.
and, a lot of people from our website, through the place like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, all these places we had traveled to, people were giving us orders for the hats and say, hey, we haven't forgot you. We know you can't come to the golf expo this year, but hey, I'm going to place my three hats with you because you guys are good guys, And they really love Kathy because she has a better accent than me, So we'll be at the shows. Like, yeah, you shut up. I want to hear her talk, So yeah, so we got through that, and like I said, just we getting stronger each year, and it is the retirement plan, and
Nice.
we have a blast doing it, So we'll do it as long as we
Great.
can do it.
It sounds like you love doing it too.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's what's
love
important.
talking to people. You get the you get the blue collar guys come in, the construction guys, the union guys, the cops, the firefighters, veterans.
Hey,
So I'm an Air Force guy myself. So
Yeah.
that's a huge thing. Those are our base, and people can have a hard time knocking them away from us, So those are the people that come in, and sometimes they'll have. Can you still see me? It's getting dark out here.
Yeah, we can still see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We're rolling with it. We're rolling with
As long as we can hear you, that's
As long as we can
Sounds
see
good.
it. We're rolling with it.
Yeah. So if
Hey,
you guys have any questions, though, feel free to
Yeah,
ask.
I
them.
got one for you. As a fellow
So-
veteran, what was your MOS in the Air Force? What did you do?
So I was an air cargo guy, which was when I first went in, I had high test scores, but I was colorblind, which meant I couldn't be wiring any airplanes because the things would crash, right?
Yeah.
So, but they said, hey, go into basic and then find a skill when you get there. So, the guys at down in Texas said, hey, now you seem kind of wiry. Do you think you could put 75 pounds over your head? And then of course, right, you're macho, right? So yeah, I could do that, no problem. I think I weighed 135. The guy goes, hey, what about 110? I'm like, oh, I know I can do that. So anyway, I went down to the gym, throw the 110 pounds over my head, and they're like, yep, you are now an air cargo specialist, The thing was, in air cargo, the thing about air cargo, the military is a total team approach, right? The Army guys can't fight unless they had, at that time, 2.5 ton trucks. We could load anything, helicopters. Some of you guys that are personal friends of mine on Facebook, you see, we used to load anything, Jeeps, jet engines, helicopters. There was, once you learn how to do it, the training was amazing, but we would do a lot of things, with the Navy Seabees or whatever. And very often, if there was going to be some trouble, you would know it a month in advance because you were already loading the airplanes, So, but it gave me a chance to work with the Navy Seabees in the 82nd Airborne, in the
That's what I was
101st.
82nd. I was in the first 508 of the 82nd.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did work with those guys, and
Cool.
we would bring them in. We used to do what they called combat offloads, where as soon as the plane hits the ground, you're breaking the chains on one of the, so one forward, one aft. As soon as they open that door, we'd have the security police. They would run about 500 yards behind the airplane, and they were covering you. And they used to say to us, like, look, if you can believe this, and I'm sure you've seen this, they say you get 3 minutes to get that airplane off the ground. If you're not off the ground in 3 minutes, those people are dead. They're gonna blow that airplane. So the thing was, you realize you have to be safe, but also be doing a good job. And I just realized that if troops are out in the field and they don't have their bullets in their, at that time, M16s and the rest, they're gonna lose that war. So in my career as an operations manager at other places, I've been like, hey, if that contractor doesn't have, his Western Red Sea deciding on a certain time, his crew, his loading crew, his carpentry crew would, be hurt, and everyone would be sitting around. So we do the same thing with Mulligan Gears. You get the order, you package it up. Now, a lot of guys, as you probably know, have what do they call those replenishment centers or something? So to save money,
center.
we do all so all of our stuff is in house. So we fill our own orders, we package them up, we ship them out, and we don't have those replenishment centers because we just thought it was an expense we didn't have. And when I was the operations manager for a building materials company, like each one of my guys used to put together, they had to put together 120 orders per day. And, we used to send those out on UPS. We also had tractor trailers, but they did the small orders. So now if I get lazy, I say to myself, Jesus Christ, you used to make those other guys do 120 orders a day. If you can't handle it, I'll get somebody else that can, so, so now I have no excuse. We put together the orders, the customers come in, put together some more orders, and but we save a lot of money that way.
Yeah,
it's allowed.
Yeah.
People say to me, like a guy said to me the other day, he said he was talking about the shipping charges. I said, well, we got free shipping, so we goes, ooh, some of the companies have could be anything from $8 to $12 per order, or you have to purchase $100 or $150 worth of stuff. I'm like, well, no, we'll handle that. And we also handle the tariffs coming from Ireland. I mean, we pay the tariffs, but we didn't pass that expense on to the customer. That's why people say, where Muckross is, Muckross gave us a tour of all the facilities, and they bought us lunch and everything else, and bought us breakfast. I was, well, how did you do it? I was like, well, no, we're actually friends with those guys, So I stop in every time, and they knew we were in the area, and they say, we're going to swing by the hotel, we'll get you guys something to eat. So our relationship was, we were the first ones to put Muckross on our website. And that was 8-10 years ago. So at the time, they were not nearly as big as they are now, So, we started with Trinity, then we went with Kerry, then we went to the driver's cap, then we had the pub style cap, then we have the waterproof ones, we got all the women's ones. So we're a big deal to them, and they're a big deal to us too, So that's and their products are very complementary to our American products.
Yeah, they got some awesome hats.
Yeah.
So it's pronounced Macross, not Mucros.
Kind of lost you for a second. Can you speak up a little bit?
Is that how it's pronounced? Is Macross, not Mucros?
One more time.
Yeah, he's saying we pronounce it Mucros. Is it pronounced Muckross like you're pronouncing it?
Know. You know what I mean? It's one of those tomato things.
I was wondering that too with your accent.
In Bostonian, it's Muckross.
yeah. So they've never corrected me when I call it. So I was assuming I had it right.
All right, Dub, you got some questions for him?
So yeah, man, your slogan, everybody deserves a mulligan. I love that, man. Whether it's a good cap or a good do-over, I guess. How did that come about? And was it something that you started with, or did it evolve later on down the road, the slogan?
Yeah. So part of it, when we were putting together this business, first off, from my last career, anytime I would do anything with other companies, like insurance company, anything in the building material, someone would always say, hey, I had a couple of you on the golf course last weekend, and then everyone would laugh.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, that's the 10,000th time I've heard that, right? So I went home to my girlfriend, Kathy, and said, hey, I've been kicking an idea around for a couple of years. I said, I want to start a brand, and it would be complementary to what she was already doing as a no-name brand. So she was creating products for other people, which she wants to keep that confidential. But so she was creating products for people, and they were selling them out of her store. I said, you know what? We'll just kind of combine the two, and we'll trademark the mulligan. So she drew the logo. She drew the man logo and the women logo. And she worked at a university. Cool. And at the university, one of her close friends was a trademark lawyer. So they did the paperwork. You know, I'm not a paperwork type of person. You probably figure that out. So we just signed off on it. 6 months or a year later, we got the trademark. And so the point was so many people had just gone through the bank crisis, 2008, 2009. Everyone was hurting. People lost their houses. People were getting divorced. There was a lot of stuff going through. People were really going through the ringer at that time. So I says, you know what? Either me or Kathy said, you know, everyone deserves a mulligan. Everyone needs a second chance. And people kind of remade themselves, and people could really relate to that. Now, so we were selling some stuff.
Yeah.
We were selling some hats and some shirts to a cop, you know. So a cop just kind of smiled, and I said, "What's so funny?" He says, "To us, some of the cops call their second wives mulligans, right?" So he goes, "Right, everyone deserves a second wife." So that's really, and then you know, when we were on Twitter, which, you know, for us, Twitter was a big thing at the beginning. It's not as big as it used to be, but people would always, you know, so we would use that line, you know, would hashtag it, and then people would say, "Hey, I saw that," you know, and well, they might beat me to it and reply, "Hey, everyone deserves one," or what have you, you know. So that's how really we built ourselves up, you know, and ultimately. Before we opened a store, so it was 5 years between the time we started and we opened a store, was we did like the Boston Golf Show, and that was huge for us. And then people said, "Hey, I don't want to wait until next March. You guys should open a store." And at that time we had 17,000 Facebook followers, and you know, we have a lot more now. But at that time, so you know what, that's a pretty good base, 17,000 people. From like the Massachusetts area, mostly organic. So I said, you know, we'll open up. And I remember like the first or second night when we were just setting things up, you know, we had the nice sign out front, Mulligan Gear. So someone pulled by the store in here. So they came in and said, "Hey, are you the guys from the Boston Golf Show?" We're like, "We are." And then we kind of said, you know what? That's pretty cool that people recognize the name. And then we had the store. And then we were posting that more and more on Facebook, which led to us having enough, you know, we had enough of a following that we could actually make it. Because like I said, most retail stores these days can't make it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we had enough to get by the first year, and each year you kind of grow and get more customers, and, you know, online is huge. Things like your show here is huge. So, you know, that you just have to be determined to make it. And like I said, I did give up my regular job for another 3 years. So, you know, I just had to work 2 full-time jobs, and, you know, it was enough that we could, you know, survive any downturn during 2020.
Awesome.
My second one, simple, easy question. What's your personal everyday go-to mulligan cap? What are you wearing on the daily?
I've been wearing our new American Driver, the Titan Blue. I mean, I just get up.
Okay.
I really like it. Super lightweight, and you know, liner of it is great, and super comfortable, and so that's been my go-to. I also sometimes wear the 8-panel, the black ice, which a lot of people are wearing that one too. And but right now, you know, everyone gets like a hot one that they go with for a while. So I've been going with this one since we made it, you know. So a lot of people are buying it. People at the feasts have also said, "Hey, just give me what you're wearing." You know, I mean, we've gone to events, so you got to get a kick out of this, but we've gone to events and people say, "Well, what are you wearing? What is that you're wearing?" And I'm like, "I'm wearing the stevedore." You know, stevedore's like a true newsboy, American newsboy. Americans invented the newsboy. So they say, "Oh, you're wearing the thing." I'm like, "Well, where is that? Where is your rack for those?" I said, "Well, I didn't bring it. I didn't bring that one." They said, "Well, you know what? You know, you see the Boston Scally Cap buy, sell, and hold page, or whatever they call that."
Yeah.
So people are like, "All right, you know what I'm gonna do is I'll just buy the one you're wearing." I'm like, "No, I'm not selling you my hat. I'm wearing this hat. I like this hat. Well, I'll give you whatever you know. No, this is mine. You come to the store and you can or go online, but I'm not giving up my favorite hats for a while. But it's
trying
great
to leave you without a cap, man.
What's that, sir?
I was just saying they're trying to leave you without a cap for the day, dude.
Yeah, I don't want to get sunburned. You know what I mean? I mean, I can
That's
always
what I
put
always
on
tell.
another one, but
That's what I always tell Chris Lopp from Funky Brims when he says this one's out of stock. I'm like, no, it's not. You're holding it in your hand.
yeah, buy, sell, all. Yeah, so he's done well. You know, he's done well.
Yeah.
He started I don't know, a few years ago when the other kid, Peaky Hat, you know, he's done a great job with his advertising stuff. So
Yeah.
I think that you know, keep in mind that only I think it's one in if you ever watch Shark Tank, I think it's like 1 in 500 or 1 in 1,000 small independent brands actually make it, you know. So with us and BSC, it was amazing because you had two hat guys start within 2 years of each other, and we both ended up making it. So the likelihood of having two people in the same basically small state, they actually ended up going on and being successful enough that they could quit their jobs and everything else is rare. So those guys done a good job in other parts of the country. And, you see, sometimes you'll see their hats here and sometimes you'll see their advertisements here. So, kudos to them.
Great.
I got a question for you, Jim.
Sure.
Do you happen to turn on an exterior light so we can see you
I'm
better?
sorry, car was going by. Can you do that one more time?
Do you have an exterior light that you can turn on so we can see you better?
No, I really don't.
Questions in the chat. No,
I don't. I'm out in my driveway because
I can see it pretty good.
Yeah, I can see it pretty good. Just if you just joined, he had to step outside because there was a Wi-Fi issue. So that's why he stepped outside as he just joining, and you realize we didn't just leave him in the woods, John. John Leary said you leave him in the woods.
I read that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so it's all good. I can hear Anthony the best though. He's got that gravelly voice. So if you have to pass along that question, that's good. When the cars go by, it's tough to hear.
Yeah.
What's a
car? So I guess it's my turn to ask you something.
Yeah.
I'm actually happy to learn about your company. I really hadn't heard about you before, except from my fellow Roundtable members. It's pretty cool to hear about an American-made company owned by a veteran. As a vet myself, I guess my question as somebody who doesn't really know much about you, and I'm sure there's some in the audience here too. What does your company do? I mean, you sell caps from other people, but then you also sell your own caps also, and do you manufacture those caps or do you have them manufactured for you?
Yeah, we own part of manufacturing, so we're connected that way, and we were smart enough, like I said, during the pandemic. I'm sorry, after the bank crisis, we said, you know what, if we're going to do this, then we're going to have a piece of the action, So also we were smart enough that if anyone uses any of our designs, we also get paid for that too. So we were like I said, I worked for a guy that was very business savvy. You got to remember something else too, is New England still has a garment district here. So things like fabrics, things that maybe others, I can just walk in, some of the, so if I say, hey, I want to do this hat or that hat, I can get that, so, and if some of the hats, like some of the people I've done some posts first thing in the morning at 8 o'clock in the morning and done a post, and then at 10 o'clock in the morning be at the store. People say like, geez, like you were just in the factory. So yeah, it's local, so cool. Things of that nature. And and we have options to buy other people, so I have some wealthy friends, and if we decide to do that, or if we decide to retire, you know what I mean? So we're in a good place in any event, so but like I was saying before, is maybe in the old days, believe me, the Chinese manufacturers always, I mean, we must get 3 or 4 people, 5 people say, hey, we'll manufacture for you, but in the old days, to get a cargo ship, a container from Asia used to be $4,000. Now that same container is $30,000. So before, when people say, how do you compete? Well, okay, I'm talking about a gallon or 2 of gas, whereas they're bringing the things in from other places. And then, like I said, is when we're, my trailer holds 4,000 pounds. So I can haul a lot of hats myself. And like I said, I don't have some of the other expenses. And we also pack up our own. And that's a big expense from shipping and everything else, So there's good times, there's bad times. I know that some of the countries have tariffs. I don't know if that affects their hats or not, but I think it does, So you can compete no matter what. No matter what you're selling. And like I said, I think the most important thing is if you're a person, so let's say you like Peaky Hat. So he's a good guy, he's selling a good product, and a lot of times people are going to get their product from the person they feel the most comfortable with. So we have our base, some of the other guys have their base, and we have a solid foundation. So I always say to people like, hey, go with whatever culture is the closest to what you believe in. So let's say you were in the military, right? A lot of times you'll see people say, hey, support a military business. So of course that means a lot to us. Now a lot of people that doesn't mean anything to. They might have something else that they might be saying, what, someone's a young person that's starting a business, let's help them be successful. So like I said, the market is so huge. This market here is so big. I mean, if we could do more events, believe me, there is no limit to the Boston area how many hats you could sell.
Yeah.
Trust me when I tell you that. So sometimes we turn down chances to make thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. So I'm not saying it as bragging, but when we can't be everywhere, and some of the guys do a great job marketing their business. So we wish them well. We wish everyone well.
And then my other question is as far as the types of hats that you make, what styles do you make, and what style do you like best? I mean, as far as flats, newsboys, duckbills, do you make all of them, or?
Yeah, so all of the Mulligan Gear ones, yeah. So I guess I really like the American driver. I like the Americana a little bit less.
That's the American driver.
Yeah. So the Americana is super popular with some of our customers. See, when people come in, I don't say a word to them. I just want them to figure out what's good for them. But the Americana is a descendant of a cap we used to do called the Jeff cap. Jeff cap did good, but I said, you know what? Let's put more stitching in. Let's stitch down more on the visor. Let's narrow it a little bit. Let's change the more of a graphite, more of a composite on the brim, so it's easier to bend. When it cools it. So you're always improving. You look at maybe some of the muck cross ones and you say, okay, well, on there we have a 3 points of contact as far as the brim. In the old days, everyone used to have a snap brim. You guys probably, I don't know if who's as old as me, but people used to snap the hat down. Now, when the hat get old, you pop the snap up, it would rip the fabric. So at one point we still do some on a hat we call the American Sportsman. We still snap that one down, but when I talk to customers, I'm saying, listen, when they're asking that. Once you snap it down, you very rarely ever unsnap it. So I'm like, I don't want to charge you the extra $5. If you sew it down, you get the kind of the look that you want to get, so that's, you always have to be practical for what the people want. And you have to listen to them, because if you listen to them, they're going to tell you exactly what you should make the next time, what colors you should go with, and also what colors you shouldn't go with, because believe me, we've bought people's whole inventory before where they, one guy, I'm not going to mention any names, called me and said, "Hey, I get all these hats. I'm ready to lose my house." And I'm like, so, what do you want me to do? They're like, you seem to be able to sell the hats. You seem to be able to sell the hats that other. I'm like, well, okay, well, I'm like, what's it going to take? Because I'm certainly not going to pay retail for them. I'm like, I'll buy them for whatever you paid for them, but I'm not going to. So, sometimes we would have, as some of these other guys that are certainly capable, great salesmen, some of the other companies, but there's been a lot of business. We were talking earlier about, sorry to go from one subject to another, but there was another hat company that was around a few years ago. And he asked me if we would carry their hats in our store, because I've heard great things about you and blah, blah, blah. So I says, well, okay, well, like, what's the deal? Like, how much you paying to have those hats made? They were making them in England, Guys, I'm making them for so-and-so, right? I'm like, yeah. And how much you think you could sell those for? So, well, I think I could sell them for X. And I said, okay, well, that doesn't leave anything. I said, that's going to take up space in my place. So, like, the price you're paying for that. And then when the person said to me, the last thing was, we had like this 20-page document. We were talking about like who makes what for who. It had a 20-page document, was a non-disclosure. The dude is like, first off, I'm probably never going to deal with those guys. I'll never have them make hats for me. I says, you're asking me to sign a non-disclosure, and you're asking me to have them in the store, not make any money. I'm like, I can't do it. But the point of it is people, when they have connections, they don't want to share those connections. And I don't blame them. It's like, everyone has their own trade, whatever that word is. Everyone has their own trade secrets, so everyone has their own connections. And, but a lot of the people a lot of people from all over the world call us and say, will you do this? And we can't say yes to everyone, so we try to do it. But yeah, we've bought the complete inventory of companies before that were worried about getting rid of their hats, that maybe, you all see, and I know I never stop talking, so just interrupt me anytime you want. But
that's what the show, what makes it a good show.
Sometimes, sometimes you'll see, on some of them pages, not the hat page that we're a part of, but like you'll see different things, and they'll say, hey, I just picked up this hat from this company at $6.99, and then but me in that business will know that the reason why they're selling it at $6.99 is, so let's say if it is a Chinese company, they're looking for your information, or they can't sell it. Otherwise, if they're super successful with it, it's like, okay, well, now you have this hat that nobody wants, and they're just trying to get their money back somehow,
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, a lot of times, go for the premium stuff if you can, because you're paying premium because they're great. The products are great. And one other thing, one other trade secret I'll give you is, sometimes I'll see guys arguing on the pages, and they'll say, I like this one and I like that one. And, this is more in the fedora side of it. And then I'll be like, yeah, I was just in the factory and they're making them on the same machine, so the only difference is the label that went on it, so
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, you guys can go ahead and kill each other if you want, but the same little old lady just made both of them hats, and, as long as they're selling to somebody, so
That's funny.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great.
I guess it's my turn. You had mentioned the driver caps before, and I have the American driver here. I love this one.
Yeah.
What defines a driver cap? What is the origination of what's called a driver? Is it these three panels here, or is it just something else? Because I noticed Muckros was calling something a driver that didn't have those three panels, so I'm not sure what exactly is the origin of what is called a driver's cap.
Yeah, so there's a lot of ad libbing in this business, like all the, but the definition of a driver's cap. See, a lot of times people used to have cabbie caps. The old cab drivers. You're a New York guy, right? Cab driver throws on the cotton hat. It's usually a single panel hat. It's usually very little stitching. The fabrics were not the greatest or whatever, right? So they were inexpensive for the blue collar guy. So a long time ago, they developed a hat for the professional driver. That means the limo guy. That means the bus driver. Anyone that gets paid, big money to drive, who maybe had a suit, who's maybe working for some. They wanted better fabrics and they wanted better stitching. So for us, when we did this hat here, we said, better fabrics, better stitching, everything needs to be perfect. Premium hat. So that's how we did. That's how we did ours. So and pub style. We had pub style. For many years. To us, pub style is a single panel, and it's got all the seams in the back. So that was what I always knew as the definition of a pub style hat. But then other guys came out with pub style hats, and like, wow, they're kind of going against the definition that we had. To give you an even better example, the American newsboy style hat. Right? So the American newsboy style hat was first developed by the old lumber guys that used to work on the dock, which ultimately was started to be called the Longshoreman Union, right? So these guys, look at all the old videos, all the old movies, all the old pictures. These guys are wearing the newsboy style hat, right? So the English in this situation were not, no matter what people tell you, they were not first doing this. So they said, hey, let's copy the American newsboy hat, but we're going to call it something else. So they came up with the term, the Baker Boy hat. So same style hat, 8 panels with a button, but they said, we can't copy the Americans. We can't copy the colonists. We got to come up with a different name. So that's where the Baker Boy, that's why when you see some of the companies, come up with a new hat and they name them, a lot of times there's actually definitions for them. But I think over the years, that kind of is we're so much of a tradition, and everybody wore these type of hats at one time or another. Now there's going to be some ad libbing,
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Oh, I learned something every day.
My other question would be, what was the first scallop cap you ever put on your head? Does it go back to when you were a kid visiting Ireland, or more of your experience in Boston growing up?
So here's it's a great question. So my family, the first generations, right? So we were over in Ireland, and my parents are coming back on from Shannon Airport, and at that time they used to call it the duty free. So the duty free is selling all the stuff to the Americans. You got sweaters, you got the hats, you had the scarves, you had everything that you could get like at the old stores in Ireland. And then my parents, who were very entrepreneurial, said, you know what, when we get back to the United States, we're going to get with some of our friends and we're going to start a business. So the first hats we did, they opened a store in Dedham, Massachusetts. Any of you guys from Massachusetts?
No.
So
on this panel now. No.
Yeah, Dedham, Massachusetts was kind of like one of those tough blue collar Irish, American, Italian neighborhoods that we have around here. So the first store that they opened was in the Dedham Mall. And we were in a high school, me and my friend, and all the kids from Dedham would try to steal the hats, So it'd be like, as you're getting close to Christmas, my mother's like, hey, you and your buddy Tommy here, who love to fight so much, just come into the store and hang around the hats. And then if anyone, they'll never suspect that you're actually security for the store. So if anyone goes to steal the hats, do what you have to do, So believe me, the kids from Dedham were pretty tough, but the thievery stopped almost instantly because they knew. I mean, and we were kind of given carte blanche to do what we had to do. So yeah, so that time at Christmas time, the theft. I went to a party years later, and I told the kid who was at the party, he says, "Yeah," he goes, "I was the Dedham Mall." I said, "Oh, my family owned the store in the Dedham Mall." He goes, "What store?" I says, "At the time it was called the Irish Cottages, you know." And he says, he goes, "Oh, geez," because me and my friends used to steal all the mats over there. He goes, "I feel bad now, you know." But I'm like, well, we survived, you know. It was very successful, you know. But you know, like anything else, divorce can sometimes hurt the best businesses, you know. They were offered. They were offered. If you could imagine this, they were offered $2 million for that brand, for that store, and probably I don't know in the '80s. That $2 million was worth $10 million, you know. But yeah. So the the divorce is so many of the family members, cousins, and everyone else used to be managing some of the stores. So disaster struck, you know. But you know, shit happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
So
it's so much
to answer your
respect for you
question, I was probably in the junior high.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, yeah, and there was
Oh,
some,
yeah.
you know, there was some tough kids in my town, and they, you know, a lot of
Which
kids,
was
Irish,
what year?
Americans, Italian.
What year would that
Used
be
to wear the
around?
hat.
What
What's
what
that?
year would that be around? What year would that be around when you said you put your first cap on in junior high?
I would say probably like 1974.
What year did you
75.
graduate?
I graduated in 80, 81. So
Okay,
the
I
reason why I
graduated
said 80,
85.
81 was in Massachusetts, they passed a law that if you were skipping more than 6 classes in a semester, didn't matter what your average was. So me and all my friends had to go back for one more year because we thought they were bluffing. You know, all my friends are like, "Oh no, they want us out of here, so we can get away with it." Like I had to pass it. Like, no, if you skip 7 classes, 7 English classes or whatever, and we were never sick, it was always skipping. So they know, what do you think? We're just going to give you the diploma? So we all had to go back, you know. So at that point, we realized, hey, you got to start taking this more serious, you know. And as soon as I graduated, I joined the Air Force.
Does that make you about 63?
So I'm 64, I guess. Yeah, I was born in
64.
1962.
Okay. I'm
yeah.
59, so I figured you were right around there.
Yeah, same. Yeah, same. Really the same generation, which I think that the generations like hard work and culture and a lot of things are really important, you know, back then, you know, doing the right thing. So, I agree.
You know, I think part of that is, each generation gets kind of programmed by TV programs and the culture around them and stuff. And when we were growing up, everything kind of programmed you to be patriotic and a good person and to love your country. I used to watch, the old World War II footage on TV late at night at midnight before the TV stations would turn off and that. And that really had an effect on me. And that's one of the reasons why I went into the military later on. And you look at the media and the culture now and the stuff that's being put into kids' heads, you can understand why they have a different feeling about the country than we do, is because they've just been totally programmed with a different program,
100%. And then on the other hand, like where our store is, you could be there for 10 years and you could never have a crossword with anyone, so people, all different kinds of people come in the store. Everyone's respectful, everyone's cool. So in a way, yes, there's probably certain parts where, maybe, there's parenting issues or whatever, but for the most part, these kids can be respectful and they're hardworking. And, when I used to work in the building material industry, we would get people from all walks of life. I'm like, Jesus, this guy's a good worker. And then you get the next guy walking and then I'm like, wow, this guy's got, no matter how he was brought up or whatever, he's a great trucker or a great forklift operator. So you know what? This country still produces the greatest. Sometimes the politicians, sell us down the thing by bad trade deals or some of this other stuff. Or, but, the workers themselves, I mean, always still want to do a good job, and it doesn't matter. It seems to not to matter if they're 18 or 80, it's like American workers are damn good, so, other countries subsidize their stuff, and that's how they're often, it's proven to be, no, the American worker was the most productive. But, if you're in an American steel mill and that company has to make a profit, and then you have a country, let's just say China, because they're the ones, if they're putting lead in their steel and they're subsidizing their business and they're shipping it all the way over to the side of the world and they're still beating us on price, but let's say the quality's not as good, but then the companies say, no, it's okay, they had too much lead in or whatever, but we're going to let it go because we need it for the bridges, so they should have a long time ago said, hey, let's make sure that if we have environmental rules, they have environmental rules. If our people are making at that time, believe it or not, the people used to make appliances in this country were making $2.80 an hour, and they were union guys. And then they moved all those jobs to Taiwan, and these are some of the most successful American appliance companies. And they ended up going bankrupt in a year or two when they moved everything over there. And they told the workers, you had to train the Taiwanese. So they were flying them over, or they would lose their jobs. But very often it was not the American worker. It was the politicians that wanted to move things over, or the CEO that just wanted to keep everything for himself. And they ended up all being wrong, and you're seeing that now. Look at the pharmaceuticals during the pandemic, So, I hope that a lot of jobs come back to this country. And they seem to be.
I'm not referring to the jobs, though. I'm just referring to the basic attitude of the culture these days, towards the country. It's much different than it was when we were growing up, and I think part of that is them trying to push things towards a global economy. It really ended up hurting us because when outsource your manufacturing base and stuff like that, you make yourself strategically weak, and that can be used against you. And I think that's part of the things that are going good now. We're starting to bring some of that manufacturing back home, where we can control the quality of it. And
yeah, when you see some people
bring back pride in what we're doing because it's manufactured
100%.
here.
Yep.
Yeah, when you see someone like Bernie Sanders, he'll want to pay the people pouring coffee at Starbucks $30 an hour, but when anyone brings up, a steel mill or the old lumberman, or that they can make $40 an hour, $45 an hour, like, well, that's bad for
that guy's a
global
fake
warming
socialist,
stuff.
though. You can't be a socialist and have 3 mansions and bitch about the oligarchy for 30 years and do nothing about it. I mean, come on. And then the guy was in the lead for the nomination, and he let him steal it from him, and he just got cucked and sat around and said, "Oh, okay," and he still supports him. I mean, how could you respect anybody who does that? Come on.
100%. And then that Pete Buttigieg, right? He gets they make him the Secretary of Transportation, right? He immediately gets pregnant, right? He takes 3 months off. I'm like, the Secretary of Transportation cannot be out there having babies when it's supposed to be at work. He's got those fake the fake body thing. I'm like, oh my God, this is not happening. Like, what happens if this guy gets elected president? Is he gonna get pregnant again? So crazy world we live in.
It is a crazy world. If they would just get rid of these term limits so we didn't have these career politicians on both sides of the aisle, our country would be a lot better off.
100% on that. I agree with that.
Very often.
That's why I'm proud of the Made in USA tags and these things, man. I really enjoy that. DEC hats and all that. It definitely does mean something, man. And how you've been doing things. Everybody talks about, oh, my goal is to have a brick and mortar store. My goal is to make my hats in the USA. And you've been doing it for a lot of people, even wore hats. A lot of respect for that,
Yeah. We appreciate that. To be honest with you, if I couldn't do that, then I would just close down.
Right.
Even some of our polo shirts, we have those made in California. So now we still have some. So I can't do all the colors, but there's a company out in the garment district of Massachusetts. I'll try to make this because I know there's a time limit, but So during the
Take your time. We got
pandemic,
plenty of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
during the pandemic, the Massachusetts had no gowns for the emergency rooms. They had no masks. I'm not talking about the cloth ones. I'm talking about the ones they use in the operations rooms, right? So there's a guy out there in the garment district that I do some business with, and they were desperate. I mean, these people going in, there's blood everywhere and everything else in the emergency rooms. These guys, China withheld everything, so the governor of Rhode Island, who actually is named Rotundo, she worked for Biden, she went to the garment district of Massachusetts and said, this is at least the way I was told the story. So she said, hey, we need the stuff for at least the surgeons, at least the people in the emergency rooms. Can you make me, I think it was 500,000 pieces, masks and everything else. And they said, we can do that, but we're going to have to put everyone else's orders aside. But you know what? This is the peer shit. fucking some animal ran between my legs.
Hit by a raccoon.
That was unbelievable.
Dog man
Let's
took
do
him
the
out.
two-step. Let's do the Irish jig. So
A raccoon's fighting him.
on the
That's gonna
world,
get, I'm gonna clip that one. That will be on the highlights.
we get attacked out here in the middle of the interview.
Starting to
Took him
disappear.
away.
Starting to disappear.
So anyway, to get back to that story, so they do the 500,000 pieces. Now the 6 governors from New England get together, and the guy from Massachusetts says, "Yeah, we're out of them in the hospital." And the Rhode Island governor said, "Hey, they're making those over in the garment district of Massachusetts." The guy said, "Massachusetts, that's my state." So they gave him a contract for 500,000 pieces, right? So then the military found out about it, and then they gave him a contract for 5 million pieces. 5 million
Batwing in
pieces.
the
This is a
house.
company. This is a company that could barely pave their parking lot, right? All their employees are 55, 60 years old, all kinds of sewing machines, everything else, right? So after they start having the money coming, now the next thing you know, they're hiring more sewers. They're training people. They're hiring salespeople, hiring managers. The parking lot gets paved for the first time in probably 20 years. I have a big pickup truck, and I'm like, I got to watch out for the potholes, or otherwise I'm going to get a flat tire. So it was just amazing, because these are all the jobs that they said people wouldn't do. And I'm going to tell you something.
right.
When they would put their job fair out, you would see 200, 300, 400 people in line. That's why I don't never believe when people say American workers won't do it. If you pay them a fair wage, they'll do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
And Jim, I know you brought a few caps outside. I seen you bring a few of them outside. You want to try to go inside to see if we got signal so you can show those caps off?
Sure. Yeah, let me see.
Yeah,
It's
I
pitch black
don't
right
want to
now.
get my fire ants. Fire ants look like they're out tonight.
I was gonna ask him if they had
Are there
fire
fire ants in
up there.
Massachusetts? I don't know, man.
That's what I was
I
wondering.
probably just got bit by one of them.
I'm so glad we don't have those here.
And everything else.
His
Yeah,
area
so,
there in Mansfield reminded me of Long Island a little bit, where I'm from. It's very similar to suburban
I would love-
Mansfield.
Damn raccoons.
The damn raccoons, yeah. Raccoons are everywhere, that's for sure.
I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. He's starting to disappear.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Oh, there
Oh, he's back. Yeah.
we can see
There we
it.
I'm on 14.4.
So like something like this.
Yeah.
This is like the 6 panel. This is one of our best sellers. So we got to do a remake it because we're all out. So we call this new one, right? So big cotton, two-tone. People love the color during the summertime. So that can be one of the next ones. Redoing it. Sometimes if you're in business, you always want to do. Some of the things are such good sellers that you just got to go back to the ones that have been doing great for you. So this is an American driver. We call it Battleship Gray. 2 seams at the top. Very breathable. Online. So degrees, good. Of course, little hats. what we call the American newsboy. So I still get a paper, and so this is the way we ship them. Some of the guys were saying about shipping in the packages and shipping them in the boxes. So you guys probably saw that debate, so
Yeah.
it's what happens sometimes is if you throw, like, I remember there was a couple of companies had shipped some hats, right? And it rained like crazy, snowed like crazy. And one of the customers bought a hat from me and a hat from somebody else and a hat from a person. So when it rained or whatever, we double bag our hats. We don't single bag them, we double bag them, as you guys know. And the person wrote, now there's somebody with brains that actually kept my hats from getting ruined because somebody else's cardboard box had no bag on the inside. They got this from the cardboard, So sometimes
That's a real good point.
Sometimes if you ship a package in a bag, if you're up in New England or up in Minnesota or wherever, then if those people have not shoveled their driveways, sometimes the mailman won't walk up. So sometimes we do them, but more and more now we are putting them in a box so they're protectable. So here's it for us.
It's like Mike every time he moves.
Yeah.
When he stops, he don't break up. When he moves, he breaks up.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when you stop and
It's,
stop and
Just stop
talk, you
moving.
can hear you. When you move, you break up a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is
There
a
we go.
gang boss, 6 piano, very
Yeah,
breathable,
those are awesome.
This is similar to what you got, the 6 piano version, off that fabric. So we're making that one again that you had just bought, Anthony. So,
Yeah.
like I said, we have a couple of new driver caps coming out. So we're always producing something. But from here to, like I said, from December 3rd, that we can make and will be sold. And that's,
Also, that one. I love that one
so
too.
if you
That's a great pattern, all right? That's a flat cap linen.
I like that.
We're moving.
All right, Jim, you're breaking up a lot, so we're
Yeah.
probably gonna wrap
Yeah.
this up. We're gonna wrap this up,
Okay.
Moose. He's breaking up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate it though, man. It was awesome. It really was.
Yeah, I really
Hey,
appreciate
great
you coming
talking to
on.
You guys are fun guys.
Definitely going to be looking
All
into
right,
your
thank you
company and
guys.
picking
All right,
something
Jim,
to
also-
support you.
We'll
Great.
go ahead,
Great.
we'll go ahead and stay on for a second once he goes.
Yeah.
off.
Also, we have the Mulligan Gear, Mulligan Gearheads, the Facebook group now that I started up. So check out the Facebook group. It's just strictly for Mulligan hats. Show off the Mulligan hats, and so if you haven't joined that group, join that group. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
All right, Jim. Have a great night, Jim. Hey,
That's
guys, let's
great.
go stay by
Yeah.
us real quick so we can turn stocking up here. All right, Jim. Have a great
Yeah.
night.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah. Hey,
Thank-
guys, it was a great
Yeah.
show. I mean, Jim had just the reason
Yeah.
he was outside is because as you've seen the reason why. But
Yeah.
it started getting dark out. I had the raccoons come out.
When Moose said go inside, I said,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, here it goes. We're back in New Mexico
I
last
will-
week."
every 5 minutes, I see him going like this.
Well,
We
I
did
was
him a
wondering
favor.
what
We did him
Ant
a
said
favor.
about do fire ants even exist up that way, man?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't think
Yeah, I
so.
don't either.
I know we don't have
Okay.
them up here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I
no.
heard my first
No.
exposure to them was when
Oh.
I was in basic training in Georgia.
Yeah, my
They're-
wife's
they're
uncle just
everywhere
got
here.
attacked by them in Florida, so I don't think they come up
Yeah.
in this climate.
Ants up
Gotcha.
this far north don't even have stingers on them. I didn't know ants had stingers until I went down south.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got all the good stuff, man.
All right, we
Yeah,
got a couple
yeah.
questions in chat here. Let me go. Let's go ahead and just get through some of these questions. We couldn't get them with Jim on here. The name of his company was called Mulligan Gear. He has his own website. Really great guy. But yeah, it was. What else? I had some other questions on here that we were able to ask, but I just could. Where they go? Yeah, but one thing I think is he said his store opened in 2018.
I know he's been doing it since 2012. Maybe that was the golf stuff.
Uh-huh.
But 2018 was probably the brick and mortar. I would say.
Because he said something was right before the pandemic and all the other stuff.
Yeah. Which
Yeah,
I've been there. It's really cool little shop. It really is. He's got other gear in there too, like some waistcoats and stuff like that, so it's pretty cool.
But I mean, overall, other than his internet, it was a great show. I loved hearing the whole American side of everything.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
And he did prove a point though, because he said that it's what do you say, $30,000 for a shipping container.
Yeah.
And and that makes sense. So if you're paying $30,000 to have a shipping container come over here, how are you not able to just make it here? And then so
as opposed to what he can haul for a tank of gas in his truck. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And he has a pickup truck with a trailer. He has a pickup truck with a trailer, and that's how he hauls his stuff to all the events.
I found that pretty interesting hearing the whole part about how he does the shows and that. We haven't had anybody on who's talked about that yet.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got stories for days, bro. When I was in there, this is nothing. We could do a 4-hour episode.
Yeah, I could tell. He's good at talking.
We didn't even get into his Mucros trip with the 200-year-old looms and all that he was touring and all that stuff. We didn't even really get into that.
He needs to come back then. We need
to
talk about that again.
You can tell he loves what he does.
Yeah. We're going to get him to come back, and we're going to have to show him how to connect to Wi-Fi.
We rally with him outside. John Leary's like, "Would you leave this guy in the woods?" He said,
I saw that, man. I was trying not to laugh. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
but the point was, when he's in the middle of nowhere, he's like, "Shit."
He's like, "Shit, oh fuck."
I thought Dogman came and took him out.
You see the camera go down.
All I know is out here, some weird shit walks around out here, possums and all that. I don't want to be out there.
We get some pretty big mosquitoes.
Forget it, man.
Minnesota State bird.
That was
I gotta
great.
watch this back because there was a point at the end there where I was biting my lip, and it had something to do with a comment or moose or something. I don't remember what it was. But something had me biting my lip there at the end.
Was it about Bernie Sanders?
No, it was after that. Something I was gonna laugh so hard, man. I had to bite my lip. It might have been when he got attacked by the animal.
That was great. Yeah.
But he was an awesome guest, bro. He's a great guy.
Mid sentence telling a story. He's just like,
yeah.
I was like, was there snakes up there? I didn't know. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
But if you guys haven't, check it out, man. MulliganGear.com. He's got a whole bunch of great hats on there. But if you go to his store, he's got way more inventory in the store.
Yeah.
He's got way more inventory in the store than online.
And the new Facebook group. Yeah.
Again, any other thing, guys? You want to say anything else before we leave?
Thanks to everybody who's watching.
Yeah.
Much appreciated
him coming on. Hope
he
comes back.
That was great. It was bad that we had to cut it a little short, but we'll definitely have him back on.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and I mean next week we're going out of the box a little bit, so we're gonna have hopefully somebody on that's not part of the community to bring us on another little field trip. Yeah, we're gonna have Todd from Shirt Show hopefully dropping a cap for Rad Caps, and then we're gonna have another special guest that we'll surprise you with. So and he's part of the community that people know. So going outside of the box next week a little bit, so it should be fun. It'd be fun.
Might kind of set the stage with the tour stuff, man. We got to keep that going.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we can get this guy on and take us on a little tour. That would be cool.
And make sure he's got good internet. Make sure you got good internet.
Yeah.
All
right, everybody.
All right.
Thanks again for watching, everybody. Everybody have a great night, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Good night, everybody.
Some things aren't outsourced. Pride, tradition, craftsmanship. When quality still matters. When heritage still means something. There's Mulligan Gear. American made. American worn. Because everyone deserves a mulligan.